so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. You've been so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Yeah. When I was your foe, still your love fought for me. You've been so good to me. When I felt no worth, you paid it all for me. You've been so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. Snow wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Still shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. Snow wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. No shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. No wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. No shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me.
worthy of all the praise we could ever bring, worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. We live for you. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder and show me who you are, and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Oh, we live for you. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder and show me who you are, and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation. I will put my trust in you alone, and I will not be shaken. I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation. I will put my trust in you alone, and I will not be shaken. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder and show me who you are, and fill me with your heart and lead me to those around me. I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation. I will put my trust in you alone, and I will not be shaken. I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation. I will put my trust in you alone, and I will not be shaken.
You know, we use the word mercy in a variety of ways. I can't speak for the females that are in the audience today, but I think I can speak for all the males. Boys grow up wrestling, right? Or wrestling if you live in Georgia. Well, what we would do when we were kids, we would watch wrestling on TV. And then, of course, we would want to try out everything that we saw in the wrestling match. So we would get a younger sibling, or we'd have a friend over at the house, and we'd decide to wrestle. So we practiced coming off the top rope, which was the sofa in the living room, or maybe the top bunk in the bunk bed, whatever you had to work with. Or we'd want to try out the figure four, or the atomic elbow, or the sleeper hold. We would want to put into practice all of the wonderfully wise things we had witnessed on the wrestling match. And there was a rule. I don't know if it's a written rule. I think it's kind of an unwritten rule. But whenever you were wrestling with someone, if you pinned them down, or if you got them in a hold long enough, they would have to say mercy. And mercy meant, I give up, right? Stop hurting me. Show some pity. You win, right? Sometimes we would say uncle, which I just got to be honest. I never knew, still don't know why we said uncle, but uncle was the same as crying mercy. As I give up. Please have some pity on me. Let me go. Let me get out of this wrestling hold. 2020 has us saying mercy a lot, right? Don't we want to say to the year 2020, enough, we give up. Can you please stop hurting us? Can you please stop making life so miserable? Uncle 2020. We use mercy in that way. Then, of course, we have the mercy rule. If you're in a sporting event, especially baseball and softball, there's the mercy rule, which if a team gets ahead by so many runs at a certain point in the game, you just don't play the rest of the game. Right? You've already won. You've scored enough points. They haven't scored enough points. You're going to win. Let's not make this more embarrassing, right? Losing 15-0 is not nearly as embarrassing as losing 40-0. So we have the mercy rule. We sometimes say it as a statement of concern. Like when somebody shares some bad news or some shocking news or some tragic news, we'll say mercy, right? It's our way of sympathizing or empathizing, or maybe instead of mercy, somebody, if you're from the South, again, somebody will say good heavens, right? And that's what they mean. That's terrible. Mercy is a way of sympathizing or connecting or expressing sorrow, saying, I feel bad for you. I can't believe the story you just told me. Mercy. Sometimes we use the word mercy as an exclamation, as in, Lord, have mercy. Right? Some of you have used that. Some of you, your mamas have used that. Your grandmamas used it, right? As in, Lord, have mercy. What am I going to do with you, child? Right? Or Lord, have mercy when I get my hands on you, child. Some of us heard that growing up, right? The whole Lord have mercy. Most of the ways we use mercy, we say the word mercy, is fairly casual in the way we use that term. And that's fine. I'm not trying to make you feel guilty for mercy being your substitute swear word or whatever. Okay, this is not about making you feel guilty about how you use the word mercy. My point is, we just use the word mercy more casually than we do seriously. But the actual word, the actual meaning of the word mercy is not casual at all. It has significant weight to it. It has significant substance and meaning to it. We tend to use it casually. And it has a range of meanings, right? Have mercy. If you're a Full House fan, you've heard that, right? And it's a range of meaning everywhere from wow, have mercy. Wow, I can't believe that. Or you must be kidding, you're joking, or that's terrible. Mercy just has this range of casual meanings. But it's not a casual word. It's a weighty, substantive word that we find all throughout the Bible, and specifically, we find it in the Beatitudes. We're working our way through the Beatitudes. We've covered the first 4. Today, we're on the 5th Beatitude, and Jesus uses this idea of mercy as a path to happiness. Here are the words of Jesus, Matthew chapter 5, verse 7. Blessed or happy, we know that word means happy. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. According to Jesus, our happiness, our ability to have deep, soul-satisfying joy is contingent upon our ability to show mercy to other people. Right? The degree to which we can live joyful lives, deeply contented lives, satisfied lives, the degree to which we can be people who are really at peace in this world is the degree to which we offer mercy to other people. If we're harsh with people, we're going to have a really hard time being happy. Right? If we're rigid and inflexible, if we're legalistic people, it's going to be really difficult for us to be people of joy. And we know that intuitively. Like if you think about the harshest people in your life, the most inflexible, the most rigid, the most legalistic type of people, you don't associate those people with joy. If we have a need to constantly point out the faults of everyone else, if we're unforgiving, if we don't give people space to be human, to have faults and flaws, we're going to struggle to maintain joy and happiness in our life. If we're the type of person that's always keeping score, we're always keeping score of who did what was right and who did what was wrong and who's offended me and who owes me. If we're a scorekeeper, we're going to struggle to maintain happiness. You know, it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of emotional energy to keep up with the score. If I'm always concerned about who's offended me and who's on my side and who's not on my side, if I'm a scorekeeper, it takes an enormous amount of energy. Paul wrote in 1 Corinthians 13, love keeps no record of wrongs. Love keeps no record of wrong. How does love accomplish that? Well, I would say it accomplishes that by showing mercy. Instead of keeping up with the score, mercy offers forgiveness. It offers grace, right? Mercy doesn't even the score. Mercy erases the score. Mercy gets rid of who owes who and who's offended who and who's right and who's wrong and who's on which side. Mercy doesn't just even the score. Mercy erases the score. It erases what you owe me or what I perceive that you owe me. So how do I go about becoming a merciful person? Well, the first step is I need to recognize my own need for mercy. I'm not just a person who just gives out mercy. I always stand in need of mercy from other people because I'm not perfect, right? You may find that hard to believe. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I don't get it right every time. I overreact sometimes. I respond the wrong way. My life kind of goes off the rails sometimes. My emotions, my reactions kind of go off the rails sometimes. And sometimes it's my fault. Sometimes it's decisions that I've made or choices that I've made. Sometimes it's just not restraining the emotion that's kind of pent up inside of me. Sometimes it's not my fault. Sometimes life is just weird and wacky and life takes a bad turn or a tragic turn or a turn I wasn't expecting and emotions come out of me and I say the wrong thing or I do the wrong thing. I am a person that is constantly in need of mercy. I want people to be merciful with me. I want people to be compassionate towards me and understanding and forgiving towards me. I want them to understand that sometimes stuff happens in my life and sometimes it's stuff they don't know about and I respond the wrong way. I'm probably a lot like you. I need mercy. I need to recognize my need for mercy, and I need to recognize how much I want other people to respond with mercy towards me, to respond with compassion. Not only do I need mercy from people, but I'm constantly in need of mercy from God. I mean, there's no question about that. I constantly stand in need of God's grace and God's compassion and His kindness and His understanding. And I experience that mercy over and over again in my life. Paul has this wonderful phrase in Ephesians chapter 2 where he's writing about our salvation. He's writing about the grace and the mercy that God gives to us. In Ephesians 2, verses 4 and 5, Paul writes, "But because of His great love for us, God, who is rich in mercy, made us alive with Christ, even when we were dead in our transgressions." I love that phrase. He's rich in mercy. He's not poor in mercy. He's not living in mercy poverty. He's got plenty of mercy. And He just gives it out abundantly. He erases the score. He gives more mercy and more compassion. He's never going to run out. I can't mess up enough times to come to the end of His mercy. There's that phrase in Lamentations 3:22. We sometimes paraphrase it as, His mercies are new every morning. God's mercies, they're new every morning. Every time I wake up, there's more mercy for the mistakes of yesterday, for the mistakes I'm going to make today. His compassion is new every single day. I love to think about that because I need God's mercy. And if you'll be honest, you'll recognize you need mercy too. You need God's mercy and forgiveness in your life. Just like when I mess up, when I lose my temper, when I say or do something embarrassing, when I'm going through a difficult time, I need God's mercy. I need other people's mercy. And if you honestly evaluate your life, you're the same. You need mercy from other people too. When I say the wrong thing, when I do the wrong thing, sometimes something's motivating me to act or respond a certain way, and nobody else knows the whole story, and I can't really tell everybody, well, this is what's going on in my life. This is what's weighing on me. I just need their mercy. I need their compassion. I need their understanding. And at times, I need their forgiveness. See, the first step in becoming a merciful person is recognizing I stand in need of mercy all the time. I want the compassion of God and of people all the time in my life. But the Beatitudes, Jesus is not just talking about us receiving mercy. That's not even where it starts. Like on the back end, Jesus says, yeah, you'll receive mercy if you live this certain kind of way. But that's not where it starts. It starts by saying, I need to be a merciful person. Right? I'll be happy, not just when I recognize I need mercy flowing towards me. I'll become happy when I allow mercy to freely flow out of me towards other people. So not only do I need to recognize my need for mercy, also I need to recognize that others need mercy like I do. I interact with people every single day and they all need mercy. But they all need compassion. Right? A phrase I've seen on t-shirts and tweeted out a lot is everybody's going through something difficult, so be kind. Right? I interact every day. You interact every day with people who are just like me. They make mistakes too. They mess up too. They don't have life all figured out either. They don't do everything perfectly either. They have bad moments just like I have bad moments. They experience pain that I don't know about, just like I experience pain that they don't know about. They walk through stuff that I don't always see, just like I walk through stuff that other people don't always see. There's carnage and brokenness in the people that I interact with. There's hurt and trauma and baggage in their story, just like there's hurt and trauma and baggage in my story. And I really want people to be understanding of that with me, so why wouldn't I be understanding of that in them? I don't know everything that's going on in their life. Here's what I can control. I can control the degree to which I'm a merciful person towards them. I can be that person towards everyone that I meet on a daily basis. I need to become merciful. Now notice something about the beatitude that Jesus gives. Jesus' command does not address the person who's receiving mercy in any way. Jesus doesn't qualify that person. Right? He doesn't describe that person. Jesus doesn't give a list of qualities that make someone worthy of my mercy. He just says to me, you be merciful. Don't worry about whether someone else deserves the mercy or not. You just let mercy flow out of you. The beatitude isn't, blessed are those who are merciful to those who deserve mercy. That's not what he says. Blessed are those who are merciful to those who ask for mercy. If somebody asks for mercy, then you should give them mercy. It doesn't say that. It just says you be merciful. It doesn't address them at all. The point is, it doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter what they've done. It doesn't matter whether they've asked you for mercy or whether they even recognize their need for mercy. You are to be merciful. I am to be merciful. And there are no qualifiers from the other end. Mercy just needs to flow out of me. Right? As I mentioned, we're incredibly grateful for this promise in Lamentations 3 that God's mercies are new every morning. But Jesus in the Beatitudes seems to be saying, my mercy needs to be new every morning. My compassion for other people, it needs to start all over every day. It needs to erase the score. It doesn't need to bring in all of the baggage from yesterday and say, okay, you're on strike number 2. You only got one more. No more compassion for you. No, my mercy towards other people should mirror the mercy of God towards me. It should be new every day. It should never run out. I should not be poor in mercy. I need to be rich in mercy. How do I become rich in mercy? Well, in order to do that, our hearts, my heart, must be touched by the pain of others. I have to really care about people. I have to recognize that in the world that I live in, there are hurting people. There are people just like me who don't have it all together. The reality is I cannot be self-absorbed and be merciful at the same time. I can't just be focused on my needs and my hurt and my problems and my emotions, because if I'm just focused on me, there's no space for me to offer compassion to you. There's no space for me to offer mercy to you. And we all have our need for mercy. And Jesus says those needs will be met to the degree that you focus on showing mercy for someone else. See, it's difficult for the cynic to show mercy. It's difficult for the scorekeeper to show mercy. If I'm always questioning people's motives, if I'm always questioning who deserves my compassion, mercy's not going to flow out of me. It's not going to be new every morning. I'm going to be poor in mercy rather than rich in mercy. What you and I have to do is we have to recognize there's always more than meets the eye. The people that we interact with, we don't know the whole story. We don't know everything that's going on. We need to give them room, and part of giving them room is offering them mercy. We can, at times, tend to make really quick judgments about people. We can respond really quickly. We can form an opinion really quickly. Mercy slows things down. Mercy realizes they're broken just like I'm broken. They're potentially in the middle of some great pain. And what I can give them, I can't solve their problems. I can't solve the pain. But you know what I can give them? I can give them kindness. I can give them compassion. Once again, we see that Jesus' description of what leads to happiness is so opposite of what our world thinks leads to compassion and to happiness. Jesus' prescription just doesn't run along the same track as what the world thinks happiness runs on. It certainly doesn't look like conversation in an election year, right? We could use a lot of mercy. We could use a lot of compassion in an election year. It certainly doesn't look like the conversations that happened during a year of pandemic, right? To be happy in these circumstances, in all circumstances, is to extend mercy to people, to give people room, to give people space, to realize we're all human. We're all broken. We're all coming up short. We're all trying to figure it out, right? And here's the thing. Mercy, this path to happiness through mercy, it's not just what God demonstrates, and it's not just what Jesus commands. The truth is, being merciful is actually good for us. It's good for me. When I extend compassion to someone, it's good for my soul. It's good for who I'm becoming as a person. It's good for my emotions. When I erase the score and stop keeping score, when I stop trying to keep up with what this person did right and what they did wrong and how many good things and how many bad things they've done, when I stop trying to keep up with all of that with the individuals I relate to, it's healthy for me. There's a verse in Proverbs. I love the way the King James translates it. This is the King James version of Proverbs 11:17. The merciful man or the merciful person doeth good to his own soul. The merciful person doeth good to his own soul. This is what's good for me. Compassion's what's good for me. And I don't always recognize that because sometimes vindictiveness seems what's going to be good for me, or getting even, or holding a grudge seems like it's what's going to be good for me, or dismissing people seems like is what would really make me happy. But the Proverbs writer is so right. When I extend compassion, when I become a merciful person, full of kindness and compassion and forgiveness, when I give space to people, allowing that we all make mistakes, it's good for me. It's healthy for me. It's healing for me. If you don't believe it, just try it this week. Just try this week in all of your interactions to put mercy as the top priority. I'm gonna have compassion for people. I'm gonna show kindness to people. I'm gonna view people through the lens of being rich in mercy. I have plenty of mercy this week. And see what it does to your heart. And see what it does to your mind. See what it does to your outlook. See what it does to the sensitivity you begin to have towards other people. The merciful person doeth good for their own soul. But we got to realize that being merciful goes beyond a feeling. When I say extend mercy, I don't mean just to feel something for someone else. I don't mean just to have pity on someone else, because being merciful doesn't stop with feeling a certain way. It pushes beyond that to actually do something, to act out of the compassion that we are feeling. Right? We sometimes soothe our conscience with feelings. We soothe our guilt with feeling. Well, I feel bad for life. I feel sorry for them. Well, that's fine. Maybe that's a starting point. But being a merciful person pushes past the feeling to the action. True mercy compels me to act. I've got to do something. In light of what I see in this person, I've got to do something. I've got to say something to them. I've got to tell them that I'm thinking of them. I'm praying for them. I've got to act. When God demonstrated mercy, He didn't just feel something, and I'm so glad. He didn't just feel compassion for us. He sent His Son to live and die and rise again. God acted as an expression of his mercy. That's what mercy does. It doesn't just feel things, it does something. Mercy then is active compassion through a practical response. Mercy, lived out, being a merciful person, is active compassion through a practical response. We do something. We say something. It costs us something. We step into a situation. We respond to the situation. Probably the clearest story that Jesus ever told of this is a really well-known story. It's called the Good Samaritan. Right? Jesus is in a conversation and they're talking about loving your neighbor, and the question comes up, well then who's my neighbor? If I'm supposed to love my neighbor, supposed to be compassionate towards my neighbor, then who is that? Who's my neighbor? So Jesus tells a story that a man was walking along a very dangerous road. It was a road where thieves and robbers could hide fairly easily, and there were portions of the road that were just dangerous. It was dangerous to walk down that road. You were likely to be attacked, especially if you walked down that road by yourself. It was, we would say, it was the bad side of town. Like, you shouldn't go there alone. You shouldn't go there certain times of day. Well, there's a man that went there. And as he was walking along the road, he was attacked and he was beaten and he was robbed. And Jesus says he was left for dead on the side of the road. And then some other people came by, a priest and a Levite, so religious leaders that you would think would be compassionate, you would think would show kindness. They each walked by individually, but instead of stopping, they passed by on the other side. They stayed away. Now, they may have gotten to their destination and said, I felt really sorry for this guy. My heart just went out to them. I just felt, I felt so much mercy for this guy, but they didn't, did they? Because mercy doesn't walk by on the other side of the road and just feel something. If you're merciful, you have to act. So Jesus introduces another character to the story. He's a Samaritan. He's honestly he's the wrong culture and the wrong race and the wrong religion. He's just the wrong guy. He's not supposed to be the hero, and Jesus elevates this Samaritan, this non-Jew, this person of another race. He elevates them to hero because he's the one who truly showed mercy. He stopped. He bandaged all the wounds. He put the person on his donkey. He took him to an inn. He said to the innkeeper, here, I'm going to pay for his stay. Take care of him. I'll be back in a few days. And if there are other expenses that you've had to use, I'll pay for those too. He was willing to allow mercy not only to motivate him to do something, but he allowed mercy to cost him something. And Jesus asked the question at the end of the story, which of these was the neighbor? Which of these loved his neighbor? We would say today, which of these really showed mercy? Well, it's the one who stopped. It's the one who cared. It's the one who did something. See, mercy is active compassion. It's me doing something. And it may not be some grand gesture. It may not be this sort of situation. But it's me, without judgment, stepping in and offering to act compassionately towards another person. Apparently in the story, the Samaritan didn't offer a lecture to this man when he showed him compassion. He didn't say, you really shouldn't have come this way by yourself. It's kind of your own fault. This is the bad part of town, and you put yourself in a bad situation, so this is really your fault. He didn't say that. He didn't say, look, have you never taken a self-defense class? You probably should look into that. Like, do you have your concealed carry license? You probably want to get one of those. He didn't offer any lecture to this man. He was just compassionate. He was just kind. He didn't walk by. He didn't ignore it. He didn't just feel something and keep going. He acted out of his compassion. You and I, according to Jesus, we've been called to be merciful. That means we have to act on the compassion that we feel. Now, here's what I know. Here's what I know about all of our lives. There are people in our path every day who need mercy. It's not a question of if. There are people every single day in our path who need mercy. We will either act with compassion or we'll find a reason to go by on the other side. All this week, all this next week, there are going to be people in your path who need compassion. They need somebody to speak a kind word to them. They need somebody who'll respond to a need in their life. They need somebody who'll show up in their life. We're either going to be merciful or we're going to pass by on the other side. Here's what I'm asking for this next week. Would you allow God to help you to be merciful? To look at people as humans, not as sides or categories or, well, they should have known better or they had it coming. Not look at them as a score, but just look at them with eyes of mercy. And then allow that mercy to compel you to do something, to say something, to put your arm around somebody, to encourage somebody, that your heart for this week would be rich in mercy. If you don't like it, you can go back to being cynical next week. You can go back to being harsh next week. But what if we just carve out this week, and every day we get up, we say, God, let my heart be rich in mercy today. Help me to see the people in my path. Let me be rich in mercy in the way that you are rich in mercy. This week, let your mercies towards other people be new every morning. God, help us to be merciful people. For a lot of us, it doesn't come naturally. It comes naturally to desire mercy from people, to hope that other people forgive us, to hope that people will be understanding towards us because we got stuff going on that they don't know about, or we kind of lost our cool, or we said something we shouldn't have said. It's natural for us to want mercy from other people, but for a lot of us, it's just not natural to be rich in mercy towards other people. Help us to be that this week. Help us to not stop with the feeling. Help us not just to have some sort of pity or a feeling of compassion. Help us to step into the lives of other people and offer mercy, offer kindness, offer grace, offer love. Teach us to be merciful. In Jesus' name, amen.
Beneath that flood, lose all their guilty stains, lose all their guilty stains, lose all their guilty stains, and sinners plunge till I die, and shall be till I die, and shall be till I die. Redeeming love has been my theme, and shall be till I die.
Thank you for being with us today. This is an exciting week. We are planning our first outdoor service this coming Sunday, October 18th at 10:30. It'll be in the back part of our building. We would love for you to join us. I know that some of you are still hesitant about coming to an indoor service. That's fine. We understand that. But this might be an opportunity for some of you to join us outdoors. We're going to have coffee. We're going to have cupcakes. You're going to get to see people in person. Our worship band will be leading. I'll be teaching, continuing in this series called Be Happy. We would love for you to be a part of our outdoor service next Sunday. Just one service at 10:30. We will still have the online service as normal, so you can come back here to Facebook or YouTube and enjoy our online service if you are not able to make it to the outdoor service. Thank you to those of you who continue to support us financially. We were able to serve the teachers at Monroe Area High School this week because of your giving. We appreciate that so much. If you feel led to give, you can do so online, either through the YouVersion app. There's a link to our giving page, or you can go to our website at welcometojourney.com. There's a giving tab at the top. That will also take you to our giving page. As always, you can mail a check to our church if you prefer to give in that way. Have a great week. Hope to see you next Sunday at our outdoor service.